All right. Good day, everybody. It is Thursday, May the 19th, 2022. A few things in the news that I want to talk about today. And today's headline hits with LW is brought to you by that Patriot owned business. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit in one of the articles. I want to show you what's out there in the news and why so many people are making the conscious decision to make their money count, to vote with their money. They're making they're flipping the switch, they're making the shift, and they're joining millions of patriots out there who are no longer supporting the monster, to be honest with you. So let's talk about it here. Let's talk about old George W. Bush. Yeah, he's back in the news. He had a gaffe. Let's talk about it. When bashing Putin for Ukraine war, George W. Bush accidentally calls Iraq invasion wholly unjustified, brutal. What's he talking about? Well, former President George W. Bush made a revealing gaffe on Wednesday evening when he blamed Russian leader Vladimir Putin for a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Ukraine while praising Ukrainian President Zelensky. Instead of saying Ukraine, though, Bush screwed up and said Iraq. Now, this isn't really newsworthy that he made the gaffe, but let me explain to you what else he said while he was there. Bush was speaking about an ongoing tensions between Ukraine and Russia on Wednesday at his presidential center at Southern Methodist University. Now listen to this part right here. And I'm going out on a limb saying this because they could consider this, what happened here in America. Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are political opponents are imprisoned and otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is a uh, obvious obvious of checks and balances in Russia. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because of what he said. Wouldn't George W. Bush know better than anybody about certain things that happen in November? I'm just saying, I mean, we did have the Chads, right? We did have the Chads. We had what happened in 2020. We also turned around, had the same thing happen in California for the recall of Newsom. We just had elections here, 2 nights ago? Some funny things were happening there. So here you are. They're saying it. We're hearing it. All right, let's hit the next headline. I thought this one was pretty interesting because this is the second governor here in the United States that are shipping illegal immigrants to Biden's front step. Warning shot. DeSantis plans to use funds to bus illegal immigrants dumped in Florida to Biden's Delaware. So remember that Abbott from Texas shipped them to DC, and of course, Circle Back Girl, she encouraged that and said, "Oh yes, this is so great." She tried to twist the narrative and what Abbott was trying to do, but now here we have DeSantis doing the same thing. But instead of sending them to Washington D.C., he's going to send them straight to Delaware. No one has, quote, done more to help the cartels, end quote, than President Biden with his embrace of radical open border policies. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said on Wednesday, nothing that Americans are, quote, bracing for the administration's repeal of Title 42 and warning that his administration plans to bus illegal immigrants dumped in Florida to Biden's Delaware. Americans are bracing for Biden's administration to end the Trump era Title 42 at the southern border, which allowed agents to more easily turn illegal immigrants away. Last week, a federal judge in Louisiana extended the temporary restraining order, preventing the Biden administration from ending the rule. DeSantis said, quote, almost 2.5 million people, end quote, have illegally crossed the southern border since Biden became president, emphasizing how that impacts the quality of life for the American people. What does this mean in terms of equality for life of Americans? Well, we know we've been seeing record human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, such that the number one cause of death for people between the ages of 18 and 45 in the United States is fentanyl overdose. Now, I just reported yesterday that they found a 1,700 feet tunnel that goes from Tijuana into Southern California. Now, we know there's tunnels all over the place, but here it is. They're not only using it for drug trafficking, but they use it for sex trafficking and human trafficking. Our young people are dying at a very high rate from overdosing from fentanyl. So again, America last is the policies of this administration. And there are governors out there that are fed up with it, and they're going to send the problem, I guess, instead of to DC, they're going to camp them right out in Biden's backyard. All right, next headline. Listen to this. This is where this Patriot-owned business comes in. All right, let me read you this article, and I want to drop some data points for you guys. Shady trial lawyers are diverting your tax dollars for radical left schemes. What are they talking about? Well, they go into detail here and they say consumer protection rarely seems to be focused on actual consumers. Think of how often consumers only get a coupon at the end of a lawsuit, even as the trial lawyers walk away with millions of dollars in fees. Or consider how state attorney general used the massive state opium settlement from McKinsey, the global consulting powerhouse, to send $15 million to their National Association of Attorney Generals and made no concrete promise to put money into the pockets of the victims of the opiate crisis or their families. Now, it goes on further to say, and I'm going to get to the point here in just a second, so stick with me. What needs to be highlighted is how this systematic negligence of consumers is a symptom of partisan hijacking of consumer protection in furtherance of the left-wing political agenda. Now, I'm going to drop down here in this paragraph. You can find it, this article in Breitbart. But listen to this right here. Here's my data point. If you want to know why I push so hard for you guys to join the movement over at lwnfliptheswitch.com, and so many people say it's a scam and it's a pyramid and it's all this other nonsense, listen, I'm not part of any of that stuff. I'm part of Saving America. If you want to join the Save America movement, if you want to quit funding these people, I'm going to show you right here in this article how your dollars that you spend at Walmart, at the mom and pop shop buying Tide, Crest, and all that other stuff, how you're funding your own demise. This $15 million from the Shady Eight Dwarfs, the federal donations generated by the massive American corporations like BlackRock, boom, there it is, Nike or Twitter. And the partisanship is giving it hard to comprehend. This is where this money goes. So you go to Walmart, you buy Crest, you buy Tide, you go to the mom and pop shops, you're spending your money there. 99% of it goes to Democrat campaigns. There you go. You don't like the Democrats, you don't like what they're doing to this country, but yet you continue to go to these places and you're funding the Democrat Party. How do you make a difference? Go to lwnfliptheswitch.com. Join the movement. Give it a chance. There's no contracts. Try it. If you don't like it, go back to shopping at Walmart. No harm done. But if you do try it and you do like it, you can at least lay your head on your pillow each and every night knowing that the money that you used to spend there, that 99% of it goes to Democrat campaigns, you're no longer funding them. Man, I'm telling you, hundreds and thousands of you people that listen to LWN each and every week, you should be rushing over there to sign up and quit funding 99% to the Democrat campaigns and allied political committees. End quote. That's where it goes. For a sense of how aggressive this is giving, consider the lowest percentage given to the Democrats and their allies amongst the Shady Eight, 98%. That's the lowest. So every time you spend that money, the lowest percentage that goes to the Democrat Party is 98%. And you keep funding it. Not me. No longer. I made the switch back in October and I'm not going back. Check it out. LWN, fliptheswitch.com. Go over there and we can answer your questions and quit funding the left, for crying out loud. All right. Next headline. Let's talk about the Great Reset. Great Reset. EU needs lockdown-like restrictions to curb Russian oil use. What are they talking about? Measures akin the sickness lockdown are needed in order to curb the EU's reliance on Russian oil. And I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to tell you what's going on. I don't need to read all the numbers and all the other stuff in this article. If you guys want to read it, it's over in Breitbart. So the EU is now saying for them to fight back against Russia, that they're going to consider complete lockdowns, just like we had at the peak of the sickness. You remember that? So they're wanting people to stay in their homes, not allow them to go shopping, quit driving your vehicles, just to try to put a hurt on the Russian oil use and consumption in the EU. So I feel sorry for the people that live in those areas because they don't deserve this. They don't deserve this at all. They're going to make them stay in their homes now. They're going to make them not available to go shopping. Shame on them. That's all I can say is shame on them. They're going to have to go through more hell just because of what the cabal is doing to this world. All right, last headline for today. Something here just kind of stinks. I thought I'd bring it to your attention. I really don't like it. Exclusive. Senator Rand Paul. Congress has to borrow from China to send $40 billion in aid to the Ukraine. Are you freaking kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. This is exactly what they're getting ready to do. Exactly what they're getting ready to do. Senator Rand Paul told Breitbart News Daily that America has to borrow the money to send $40 billion in aid to the Ukraine. If you want to talk about firing my ass up today, we got Americans suffering all over this country. High gas prices, inflation. 2 18-packs of eggs cost a lady $11 the other day. We got a baby food crisis. We got a southern border crisis. We can't manage to take care of our own, but we're going to turn around and put our hand out to China and ask for $40 billion for China to turn around and put it in the hands of the corrupt Ukrainian government. Does that make sense to you guys? Sure in the hell doesn't make sense to me. Why are we allowing this? Why does this not come to a vote across the nation for the American people to say, yes, we want to do this, or no, we don't want to do this? Why is it always up to our politicians to screw us? It's exactly what they're doing. Breitbart News Daily host Alex Marlow spoke to Paul as the Senate remains poised to pass legislation that would send $40 billion in military and economic aid to Ukraine while Americans grapple with inflation and food shortages. Paul has single-handedly worked to hold up the Ukrainian package. Why is that? Because he smells something too. But I disagree with part of what Paul is saying here. I appreciate the fact that he's a fighter. My question is where the hell is all the other Republicans and conservatives? Why is Rand Paul holding this up in Congress by himself? Why? We should be screaming at these people. We should be emailing them, phone calling them, and saying, why the hell is Rand Paul standing alone? Why are we going to borrow from China to send to Ukraine? Why can't China just send it to them? Oh, that's right. They align with Russia. This is what we deal with each and every year, folks. This is what we've been dealing with for so many years and decades, and we continue to allow it to happen. We continue to send the wrong people to Washington, D.C. We need fighters. We need conservative thought. We need people who are not going to allow these people to enslave our grandchildren. Because guess what? This isn't free money. We're sending this money to the Ukraine, and we got to pay it back to China. You, me, your children, your grandchildren. They're enslaving us. They're enslaving us. The Democrat Party is pushing hard on this, and most of the Republicans. And yet you still go down to the store and you still buy those things that are made in China and everywhere else that turns around and feeds the campaign to the Democrat Party. You want to know where the problem is? It lies with you and I. We have to do better. We have to do better. We have to get in the fight. We have to do the things that make sense. Quit funding these people's campaigns. Please quit funding these people's campaigns. Go to LWN, fliptheswitch.com. Join this movement. All right, folks, that's it for me for this week. Don't forget, come back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and support Ladies of Liberty. Should be a great show tonight. I should be in the chat. Love y'all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here next week. God bless.